who are actually quite familiar with our program, you do know that this program happens same times every week. And today we're very honored to have a young man, Mr. Israel Oyinlola, in our midst today to get us started on artificial intelligence. And I know sometime last week we did something similar to this. Today, like you all know, it's gonna be uh it's gonna keep rolling even up to next week. So for those of you who are joining us for the first time, please keep a date with us and sure you are back here next week for the same program. Mr. Israel, I'll quickly go ahead and introduce you, and you will have the floor to share your wealth of experience with our audience. Israel Oyinlola, who is the founder of African AI Foundation, uh, is a technology executive and a co-founder at Base One, a Pan-African banking as a service infrastructure company, having built and incubated several multi-million-dollar businesses as an entrepreneur in residence, many of which have been able to scale across multiple countries. He is passionate about the growth of African human capital, resources, and passing on the knowledge acquired from over 15 years of active involvement in technology. He is the founder and president of African AI Foundation, a nonprofit aiming to democratize access for Africans to learning artificial intelligence and future-proof their career and businesses. The African AI Foundation trained over 850 students from over 4 countries in its first cohort. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together to welcome Israel Oyinlola. Israel, you're welcome to our platform. I know that in the course of reading your brief bio, there could have been some areas that were omitted that you could want to highlight briefly and dive straight into the conversation for today. Over to you, Mr. Israel.
Thank you so much. It's a total pleasure, and thank you for having me. Thank you for coming around, and to everybody connecting online, it's a pleasure having you. I can guarantee you this session is going to be worth your while. We'll be diving into artificial intelligence, and we will make it as relatable as possible. We'll dump it down and make it as relatable as possible. Subsequent sessions, may now become a little bit more complex, but today we will, discuss artificial intelligence in a way that everybody would be able to relate to it. As the introducer mentioned, I'm Oyinlola Israel. I am the president of the African AI Foundation. It's a non-for-profit where we aim to, essentially pass on the knowledge to ensure that people are not disrupted. AI is coming, AI is here already. AI is going to disrupt businesses, it's going to disrupt, value chains, it's going to disrupt careers. And what we're doing at the African AI Foundation is to ensure that people can ensure that they're not disrupted. And how can they do that? It is essentially by leveling up in terms of skills, by ensuring that they can compete in the new era of artificial intelligence. So that's what we've been doing, and that's what I'll be doing here as well today. I was trying to initially share my screen so that I could, share the presentation I prepared. But I think there's a little challenge. Let me see. I can't even do that from my own Mac. Yeah, I could forward the deck maybe after the call. No, it's not connecting.
Not connecting.
Okay, it's saying
you don't have to share. All right. Please, can you give him the code, right? So you could share his slide.
He has it now.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Okay, I think it's still, the internet here is amazing. Yeah, I'm trying to like get it freshest data, but I think it's still downloading. Let's wait for that. But I'll just go on while this is still in progress. So yes, we're building a future where Africa leads in AI development and African adapted innovation. That's really our goal. And how do we do this? It's essentially by training, capacity building, research, creating strong AI community that I believe you guys would now be a member of, right? By you interested in learning about AI, that makes you a community of AI. That makes you a member of the community. And then applied AI research for African. Okay. All right, then I'll send it to you, your WhatsApp. Okay. Right. You know what? Let me just do it this way. We need to solve these internet issue at the American Corner in Ikeja once and for all. There's always this internet challenge every time, right? Okay. All right. So I'll send the deck to Mr. Denny and he will help project it to everybody. Okay. All right. Okay. So let's move on. So what is really AI? What is AI? Artificial intelligence was a term coined in 1956. It was coined in 1956. And the aim was to build intelligent machines, right? A CPU of a computer is essentially just, interpreting one answer. It's a garbage in, garbage out machine, right? It has other, peripheral channels, the memory, the disk and all that things, right? But essentially, you write a program that takes some parameters, some variables, and then computes the thing and then gives you some output. That is how computers have been, over the years, right? But now, what led to the thought of AI was that can we build a system that instead for of how data needs to be manipulated and changed, the machine decides and detects how those data should be manipulated and changed. And an example of this is, if I just give you write a C++ function or a JavaScript function that will add two numbers together, you first of all will take the first number, let's say you call the variable number one, NUM1, right? You can call it anything, right? It's go into the memory of the computer as you instantiate the variable. And then the second number, num2, right? You collect it from the user. And then in the body of the function, you essentially do return num1 plus num2, and then it gives you the answer. That's a very simple example, but essentially that's how all programs work. You can have a complex loop that is calling another function that is calling another function, but it is garbage in, garbage out. historically, before you can write any software, you must know the procedures and processes. I'm on slide 3. Thanks for, yeah. Before you can write any software, you must, first of all, know the processes that defines how the data needs to be changed, manipulated, and constructed, reconstructed, and then returned. But now in AI, we're saying that I don't want to be the one to tell you to do this. I don't want to be the one, if I say that, okay, create, write a function that does the, there's this quadratic formula, minus b plus or minus roots b squared minus 4ac over 2. I don't know if any, all these, do we have mathematicians in the house, right? When you're finding roots of a quadratic equation, right? Exactly. Yeah, okay, that's what they call it. Interesting, almighty formula. So now I could say that, hey, I don't want to be the one to tell you to construct. Sorry, let me put my phone on airplane mode. So what we're saying here is that instead of, the programmer, the software, for example, normally what you have to do is today, okay, collect the value for B, right? You negate it, and then do the plus or minus, and then the root of B squared minus 4ac, collect A, and then collect C, and then divide it by roots. That's what you would do normally if you were to write a program. Who writes program here? Normal JavaScript, Python, C#, whatever. Who writes program? Nice. Okay. Don't worry. For people that don't write program, I will still bring it lower so that you can relate. If you don't write program yet, I'll still, dump it down a little bit more. But just think of, okay, if I need to, for a computer, if you need to do anything, you need to supply the data to the computer. The program, the software that the publisher of the software has written will take the data, manipulate the data, and then return the output. That's how it works. But AI started in 1956 when a team of engineers and scientists felt like, okay, can we have a system that instead of us being the one to write the software, the system will know that this is the software, this is how to manipulate the data by itself without me passing this formula to it. So the aim was essentially to build intelligent machines. At that time, it was rule-based. There were algorithms like, J48, decision tree. I don't know, let's not go, deep into that. But it's not very, very good. Those algorithms were not very good. They were clunky. They cannot generalize. So what happens is that those algorithms of those days, if you train it based on some data sets, and then this is us dumping it down. If I want to go get water there, and I go here, that's where the dispenser is, right? Normal human being will just think, okay, I should just go this way. But if you train a data set, maybe you just have some corrupt data or whatever, by any means, you happen to go here, I go to Mr. Denny over there, I talk to somebody there, and then I go to the dispenser over there. Every time during inference time, when I'm trying to use the AI system, that's what the script doing. Say, go get water. That's what if you do repeat that same steps. But we need an AI system that can reason. Like, this doesn't make sense. No, I have to go here. I mean, this is shorter path. This is a better way to go, right? But it just proved one thing, that we could develop silicon machines to make them adaptable in a way that they would exhibit intelligence, right? They follow rules. Do this, do this, do this. Turn here, go left, right, and then, they do that. So that was the first time that in the history of software development, we wouldn't have to write specific instructions. In normal traditional programming, you have to write specific instructions to change the data, collect the data, add it to this, minus this from this, so add square this, and then sum it together, and then return the output. That was the first time that we would even make progress to say that, okay, we send data, the machine learns from the data, and then is able to return on output. That was a big leap. That was massive progress. It wasn't great, but that at least showed forward momentum. So there was AI winter in the 70s. There were no funding, going to AI research, slow progress. All the scientists and the engineers wanted to do something shiny. If we're not building chips, or the era in the 70s and 80s, everybody was building faster chips, CPU, memory, So all the energy and attention and funding was going there. So people that were working on AI, they suffered a little bit around that time. There was no funding, there was no attention, because of course, what they created doesn't have massive application in the market, right? So companies could not fund them and all of that. So that's what happened for about 10 years. But again, in the 90s, there was a resurgence because now we have more data. We have people like Amazon, Microsoft, all these companies they were becoming mature. They had a lot of data, enterprise data, and even their own consumer data and all of those kind of things, right? And that makes it, interesting for AI. So the attention wasn't that great, but at least we had a couple of scientists still working on AI problems. But the magical era was in early 2000, when funding returned. We had a breakthrough method, called deep learning. Before this time, we had different algorithms, decision tree algorithm, all different kind of algorithms to make machines learn, but they were not very good, right? But in early 2000 was the first time that we, had a breakthrough in a new method that was actually very, very useful. We'll be going into details of what these various algorithms do, much later in this series. But yeah, that's the progression. Deep learning was so optimistic. We could send a picture of a cat to a computer, and the computer will actually know that this is a cat. After training it, we could send a picture of a dog to a computer, and the computer will actually know this is a dog. So all you just have to do is to find a bunch of pictures of cats in different, colors, different shades, different posture, doing different things. Picture of dogs, lots of it, picture of anything that you want to do, train an AI model on it, and then by the time you send it a picture it may not look exactly like what it has been trained with, just send it a picture of any random cat, it will be able to recognize it, right? So that's a classification challenge. So the first time that we're able to do that, right, in the early 2000s, and that was with the convolutional neural network made that possible, and we made some massive progress in language understanding, also with recurrent neural network. They were not earth-shaking, but they showed massive progress. They were not earth-shattering, but it was progress. I didn't add one more here because what happened in 2017 is what it led to everything that everybody is seeing today in AI that everyone is shouting. In 2017, a group of scientists and researchers in Google came together and worked on they fine-tuned deep learning. It's still deep learning. So that's the reason why I didn't just like add a new dot there on that line. It's still deep learning, but it's a modified deep learning method, right? It's called transformer. It is the brain behind the ChatGPT that you are seeing today, the Midjourney, the Google Gemini, what else? What models do you know? Perplexity, thank you very much. Cloudy, what else? Which other one? Copilot, right, Copilot, awesome. Bing AI is still using OpenAI stuff behind the scenes, right? But it is the paper, the research of these guys in 2017, fine-tuning deep learning that made it possible. We're going to touch on that. It's complex. Maybe during the third part of this series, we're going to touch on that too. What is really that thing that's so magical that changed the world, right? Unfortunately, Google could not capitalize on their innovation. OpenAI because of course scientists like to publish their papers so that other people will peer review it, other people will take a look at it and see if it makes sense, right? So they published that paper, and then OpenAI saw the paper and then implemented it first, commercialized it first, and that's what is happening today. But it is that breakthrough that led to everything that is happening today. You can proceed. All right. So what are the use cases of AI? You guys have mentioned a couple of AI systems. It's used in healthcare, disease detection, personalized medicine, medical imaging analysis, drug discovery. It took about 100 years for us to do some protein synthesis to understand how some proteins formed, within a living cell. But it took about a couple of months for the OpenAI team to rediscover the same level of discovery that took humanity 100 years, and then to discover about a couple of thousand more, right? Because what this could lead to is, better understanding of how the body works. We don't understand how our cells work. Sometimes if someone falls sick, it is after the effect. What originally caused the moment that 1 + 1 led to that sickness, you don't know it. It is maybe weeks or months that, it materialized as sickness, cancer, and all these things, right? You don't know, maybe it is exposure to one chemical or whatever it is, the environment that led to it. But now, with better understanding of how the cellular function works, we can, help humanity a lot better. In automotive AI, it's being used to power self-driving. That's some sort of like vision AI system, right? It's used to carbon emission. AI systems can help in terms of how that can be reduced. And also in natural language processing, AI can help you. Essentially, all what you're saying with ChatGPT, with Gemini, and all these models, essentially NLP. That's NLP, right? You ask a question. It's a computer system. It's a pure silicon, a piece of silicon that electricity is going through it. Now can understand you and respond to you. That's Marvel, right? When ChatGPT came out last year, was that last year? I think that's 2022, right? December, yeah. When it came out, everybody was marveled, like, what is this thing? What is this thing? Like a machine that can understand you and respond, right, accordingly. So that is natural language processing right there. In financial services, AI is used to make trading decisions, automate financial tasks, fraud detection, and risk assessment, right? In smart home, it's used to automate tasks as well to optimize energy consumption and enhance security and provide personalized experiences as well. Please, next. I'll just move fast through this. In e-commerce, it's used to do prediction. If you like shoe, you probably like polish. Or if you like Apple iPhone, you probably like AirPod. Or you probably like all those things, right? So what they do there is that they essentially bring together some ideas and then put them in something called, let me see, how can I dumb down, vector space. Okay, let's leave that to phase 2. That English seems too high. Vector space. So they essentially bring things together that are related to each other, right? Kind of like collapse them, such that if you are buying something, they know the other things that they will recommend to you, and the likelihood for a hit is so high, right? We saw that you are buying this. You guys, if you have ordered on Amazon before, you would have seen this. People that order this usually get this alongside. They could send it to you in your email. That is the recommendation system that is working behind the scenes. That's gone through your order history. They say, oh, you ordered for this last week. People that usually get these other things as well. That is what is happening behind the scenes, right? Also in manufacturing and robotics, definitely that's really the seat for AI. Cybersecurity, virtual assistants, and then in agriculture as well. Please proceed to the next one. Yeah, so we project that AI will lead to increased productivity of humans in the next few years. In the next 5 years, 5 to 6 years, we would see productivity that humanity has never seen before just because of AI. A company that used to need 10 customer service team would probably need 2 now. A company that needs 20 software engineering team will probably need 5. Because you have the wings of eagles. The eagle, the wings is the AI lifting you, right? And it's no longer your human capacity and ability anymore, but now you can be turbocharged. So AI will enable businesses to operate more efficiently, resulting in higher output and economic growth. This increased productivity can drive innovation and competitiveness, leading to economic gains. AI is estimated to add between 2 to 10 trillion US dollars to global economy in the next 10 years. 2 to 10 trillion dollars. The entire GDP of Nigeria is 360 billion, 365 billion, thereabout, right? Now, the AI ecosystem will add up to 2 trillion, between 2 trillion to 10 trillion US dollars to the global economy. How will this happen? We'll get there shortly. Yes, AI will cause job losses, no doubt about that. You know, jobs, we don't like to call it job losses. We call it job transformation. Yeah. We don't like to call it job losses. Because, you see, back in the days, over 100 years ago, when the first tractor came, farmers were like, we are going to be out of jobs. We're going to be out of jobs. But tractor did a job better. Now, the farmers that should have been spending 6 hours on a farm had better things to do. The tractor can finish a 25 hectare of land in a couple of hours, but it would take probably, it's not even possible for a team of 10 people to do that in days, right? But the farmer found something else to do. The farmer would not be focusing on the market, distribution, preservation, and other things, right? Where the tractor did better job, right? Also, think about the industrial era. There used to be lines, assembly line, where people will be, putting things together. But now there are robotics everywhere doing these things. But what it led to is that people now have to do better things. They are freed up from that. Those jobs are not nice. They're not. If you've been on a farm for 10 hours before, you would know that those things are actually not nice. It's right to automatic. Right? But where we're going is that almost all the work that we do will be automated, freeing up our time to do much more. And that is what is going to cause a boom in the global productivity. Because now you don't need as much energy. Before, when we were doing farming manually, right? It is where your energy reaches that you stop now. You can't come and kill yourself. Okay, so the productivity was linear to the human capacity that each individual carried. But now, just press the accelerator on the tractor, attach the plow, and then we keep going. If the tractor has fault, oil it or do whatever it is, and then keep going. Right, so it's multiplied the productivity of humans in an unimaginable way. And that's what we're experiencing again with AI. So it happened again, agricultural revolution, it happened, industrial revolution, this happened in France when a textile company decided to automate their manufacturing. Some workers started destroying the machines. They just got the machines, they brought the machines in, they started destroying the machines. No, we're gonna be out of jobs. We're gonna be out of jobs. How dare you automate our work? What then do you want us to be doing? Those are people that are short-sighted. If you were in that situation, what you should be doing is that, who created these machines? How can I learn how to operate this machine? How can I, be the one to supply parts? Because those machines will break down, right? How can I be the one to supply the parts to those machines? But instead, what they started doing, I think they call them Luddites. I think that's the name of the factory in France, right? But what they started doing was they started destroying the machines, right? Eventually, the company had their way. They eventually laid off some people that they felt that was sabotaging their progress and all of that. And what happened was that the machines created textiles about 100 times more than what the humans could do. They were able to raise wages. They were able to, give workers health benefits, health coverage, living standard just came up just because there were machines doing those things that humans. That's what is going to happen again. This happened again in IT revolution. IT revolution was essentially about improving access to Google. Google is not doing anything. It's just essentially giving you access to a data that already existed or that's put somewhere, right? And Google is a $1.8 trillion company today, right? Just doing that. Same as all the other products out there. Amazon, all these are IT companies. Microsoft, we lost out in Africa. And that's the reason why this foundation really exists. The IT sector adds more than $2 trillion to the economy every year. But Africa has less than 1% of that. Africa has less than 1% of that. The GPU, NVIDIA sold 85 billion of GPU last year. 85 billion US dollars of GPU. We don't, if you tell some people in Africa here, what is GPU? They'll be asking, this is the machine that makes it possible to train an AI system. So now all the companies are racing to be the winner of the AI race. Google, Microsoft, everybody, right? So it is not pressuring NVIDIA to supply more GPUs. NVIDIA has been around since 1990 something. They've just been there, but now that AI came through, now it's just lifting their valuation. They're making a lot of money, right? But where I'm going with this is that we've always been on the sideline, right? We watch. The whole thing happens in the world. We just be there, watch what's going on there. What's happening there? What's really happening? And then by the time the market is now defined, where you now see the market structure, is too late. In the 70s, what was happening? Everybody was like, what is internet? What is internet? Information highway. Why do I need an information highway? Because they couldn't find a good definition for internet. Just say information highway. Why do I need an information highway? I have my newspaper. The delivery agent delivers the newspaper to my door every morning. Why do I need the internet? But nobody could really understand. But what was happening then was all the companies were racing to be the first to productize the internet. Microsoft was racing. Google was not around then. Google started in 97 or so, right? Cisco, all of them. But what happened? Early 2000, you saw the emergence of all these companies. They already took a position. You're not taking me out of here. I've already carved a niche. I've carved this space for myself. So Amazon already owned the e-commerce of the internet. Microsoft, they already cornered the enterprise. All the companies, they're collecting fees per employee, right? They've already carved that proposal. You're not taking me out. Google has come and say, okay, you see the information access, I've already owned that place. Leave that to me. Cisco will be like, okay, you know what? I'll give you infrastructure to, power your data center. Just leave that one for me. Intel will come and say, okay, you know what? That thing that is running your data center, that's your server. Just leave that one for me. That's how wealth gets shared. Right? That's how wealth gets shared. And all these times in Africa, what were we doing, right? Sleeping. Thank you. Right. All these companies that I've just mentioned today, their annual earning is between 2 to 5 trillion US dollars annually. And then we wonder why Africa is not growing. Why, it's because we stayed on the side. Well, everybody was scrambling around in the 70s, trying to, define their nature, find a way, find a path, craft something, build something, productize something. They were struggling, no doubt about that, because they didn't know it. They didn't know that this is how it will emerge. But they kept at it. Now that it is defined, they've just essentially carved the niche for themselves. And now that those markets are now defined, it's a home run for them. Very few European companies made it. We have some companies in Netherlands, the guys that make the chips. they are called ASML. They made it into the IT revolution. UK really didn't make it so well, but homegrown solutions, they own that, But us in Africa, in fact, homegrown solution we don't have. We have to license Microsoft Office. We have to license all these things, right? We have to license all these softwares. And what we need to do is to essentially be competitive. How many more minutes do I have? Okay, thank you. So what was happening? The world was scrambling for a gold rush, and Africa was there, just not doing anything. And by the time the wells get created, Africa still get left behind. So that's why everybody wants to give Africa aid. Let's just send them some, support. Let's give them some support. So what is happening today is that what was happening in 1970 for the internet is what is happening today. So you're lucky to be alive because it's an interesting time to be alive today. What was happening in 1970 during the internet era? Nobody understood the internet. I want to say maybe 85. Last year, I would say the 70s, But now we've started seeing some people productizing AI. Before, in the 2015, it was like, when you mention AI to anybody, all these geeks, get out of here. You are just, all these bookworms, That's how they'll tell you. You're just a bookworm. I beg, carry your, algorithm, carry your wala, come up for here. But now, almost everybody has interfaced. If you use Google daily, you have interfaced with an AI. That thing that summarizes your question, that gives you that snapshot of answer, is a lower version of the transformer model that powers OpenAI. So if you use IT today, you have interfaced with some sort of AI systems. The YouTube recommendation system, you don't know why you are always hung on TikTok and YouTube. It's some AI system that have figured you out. Facebook needs only 72 likes to know you more than your parents. Just like 72 pictures, or comment on, I think for the comments, about 20 something, right? So just 72 interactions on other people's messages. They will know you more than your parents know you. So you're now wondering why you're hung on Facebook. You are just scrolling. You just keep scrolling because they know what you want. They know what ticks you off. They know what your brain is wired for, and they keep serving it to you. Okay, because they serve it to you, right? Right? So that is what is happening there. So there will be job losses, but we don't like to call it job losses. We call it job transformation. Because now people's time will be freed up. And the only way that, for some people it will be job losses, for some people it will be job transformation. The only difference will be for the people that are able to upskill. There will be new demand to upskill. And if you cannot do that, it will be unfortunate. That's the one that will lead to job loss. But if you can, be part of the people that will upskill, then you'll be part of the fortunate part that will be job transformation, exactly. There are jobs now in the US that for a prompt engineer, you can earn up to $300,000. All you're doing is because an AI model, don't worry, we'll get into the details of what is really an AI model, all these things that, an AI model is when it has been trained, people call it a black box, but really it's not a black box. It has some learnings about the information contained in what it has been trained with. So now, because, language models have been trained on a lot of data, you need to craft your prompts and questions in a certain way to get some certain output. So the engineers that craft those things this job didn't exist 2 years ago. There's no job description like that 2 years ago. This was just a couple of months ago that this started happening. And this is just the beginning. We are going to see a lot of new titles. You will see Chief AI Officer. These are roles that were not existent before. This has already started. This already started, right? So those are the things that would definitely happen, And then, there will be massive industry disruption. There's no doubt about that. Again, the job losses versus job transformation, that's for humans. Industry disruption versus industry opportunity, that's for companies, right? The companies that are scrambling right now. You would think they are losing money, right? You think they are investing in wasteful researches and all of that. But just wait 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. They would be the one that they'll just see, everybody will just wake up one morning and be like, wow, the opportunity is gone. The opportunity is gone. These guys have already taken everything. It's over. You now have to pay them. Do you know how much you pay Facebook every year in Nigeria? 270 million US dollars is what Facebook earns from Nigeria. Yes, that's more money compared to the large money that they make. Facebook makes over 100 billion annually, right? Facebook makes about 270 million. I mean, if it is you that build that and you are earning 270 million every year, that is something. That is something, right? So what happened during the IT revolution was that the Indians didn't lose out much. They were not at the forefront, but once their guys go to US, they will come back sharp. Homo, this thing that I saw in the US, man, let's do a copycat. They kept following. So when the AI IT revolution emerged fully, they didn't lose out. Microsoft has Microsoft 365. Zoho has their own version. Right? In fact, Zoho now has taken over Nigeria because now we have currency problem, USD issue, right? So Zoho has taken over everywhere because now they're saying that, okay, you know what, Nigerians, we know that you guys have currency, you pay us in Naira. People pay Zoho in Naira because they understand how to build from an emerging market, right? So they built, their technology was not at the forefront, but because they were tagging along, they were able to catch up a little bit. They are the 4th biggest economy in the world now. India. Zoho, Z-O-H-O. Everything that Microsoft has, they have now. Everything Microsoft has. You see Zoho Meet, you see Zoho email, you see Zoho, everything that Microsoft has, they have in terms of software. As a matter of fact, they left their development team in India. They will now go to the US and be like, you guys are paying Microsoft too much money. You guys are paying Microsoft too much money. They have a lot of savings because of the labor cost in India. It's not as high as they will not go to India, US, and be, I can give you much value for 10% of what you're paying to Microsoft. If you're a business person, would you say no? Would you say no? So now Microsoft is now having to put guardrails, offer some other things to ensure that they can keep their customers. Because Zoho is even trying to disrupt Microsoft in their own market. Yeah. We just need to, see more companies, exploring the unknown around AI. Because if we leave it unexplored, what happened in the IT revolution will happen again. We will pay the way we are paying this money, 270 to Microsoft. I don't know how much we're paying, how much Google earns from Nigeria, but I'm very sure it will be around that amount too. It will be around that amount. But that's what we'll do again in the next 10 years. They will mop all these resources from Africa. Right? Very few. Very, very few.
So, okay, what the African countries maybe come together rather than, okay,
very few even understand the opportunity. That's the challenge. Very few understand the opportunity.
But those that understood the opportunity can bring in people, lecture them, or educate them.
Yeah.
This is what we are trying to do. Let's meet up. It's possible.
It is. It is not too late. It's becoming very late, but it's not too late. And that's why, again, that's why the foundation exists. The foundation is a complete non-for-profit. We are trying to, our target this year is to get up to 5,000 people. We trained about 860, about 900, almost 900 last year from 4 countries. Target this year is to do 5,000, right? If many people, there's a tipping point that we need to get. Once the knowledge is available, these things that we are complaining in Africa is problem, everything is not working. It's because it's lack of knowledge. Thank you so much. It's because we Africans ourselves, because it takes context to solve a problem. If you import somebody over, their own experience in life has been different. They will have to spend years, maybe decades, to even fully understand your context. So you understand the problem more than anybody else. So what is missing is the capacity to actually flip those problems to opportunity. And that's when knowledge comes in. So until we fix that problem, Africa will unfortunately still be behind. And that's why when we decided to, start as a foundation, like there's no way we'll succeed as a for-profit. Yeah, we working. Yeah, definitely working on that. We had a couple of collaboration last year, and we're hoping to do more. Yeah, so essentially, it's a massive opportunity. Ernst & Young even estimates the opportunity to be up to 15 trillion US dollars by 2010. That AI will create up to 15 trillion. When the people mention this money, it looks abstract. It looks abstract, like, what, 15 trillion, what is that? But the fact is that people make it. People make it. Together, as we are here, let's sum it together. Google made 188 billion last year. Microsoft, I think that's almost 200 billion. Apple, 200 billion. Are we not almost close to 1 trillion? Nvidia, 85 billion. Cisco, another something billion. Intel. People make this real money. and it is people and businesses that pay for it. So when we mention 10, 15 trillion, you know what? These geeks have come again. They just spray numbers up. It's a fact. It is a fact. So the people that understand, if you know what Microsoft is doing to be at the forefront of AI today, they are investing massively. And with the way they are investing, they may not be the first, but they are definitely they're going to be on the first three. They're going to be on the first three. And what will happen again? The world pays Microsoft. Who is not paying Microsoft? Which country is not paying Microsoft? Why are you not to pay Microsoft? You have to pay them, right? Yeah, if you don't use their computer, you use their software. If you don't use their software, so you are using their cloud. The people that are serving you, they are using their cloud. So one way or the other, you are paying Microsoft by just being alive. So the missing link is not that the information is unavailable. Is the will of the people. Is the will of the people. Is the information. I mean, we did 3 months long cohorts last year, training. The information is what to do. It's right there. What to do is right there. So it's not a lack of information. It's not a lack of access to information, right? The information is right there. What we do is essentially to put it together and make it possible for people to relate with. Even if you cannot build, you should first of all understand what is happening there first. For people that are technical, thank God we have some people that are code here. Now they can now start to even build. It's expensive to build AI, and that's the challenge. That's why it's going to be even a lot more tricky for Africa to catch up, because Africa already has a funding challenge, a funding gap, a funding link that's missing, right? So it's super expensive. It is worth investing. That is why the government has to involve. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So yeah, there will be industry disruption and innovation. AI has the potential to disrupt traditional industry. It will definitely disrupt traditional industry and drive innovation. By leveraging AI technologies, businesses can gain competitive advantage through improved decision-making, personalized consumer experiences, enhanced product development. This disruption innovation can lead to emergence of new business model, industry, and economic opportunities. Absolutely. Let's move on. We spent some time there. Economic efficiency and cost reduction. Now, this company in Sweden, if I'm correct, they do credit lending. What they did was that they sacked 77 people that were working in their customer service team. Everybody, they sacked 77, and they replaced them with an AI system. And the AI system was doing the job 50% better. You can't get tired now. It doesn't have emotional problems. AI cannot break up with boyfriend and come to work and be grudgy. These are realities of what happens to humans. right? You can't come to work and be like, you know what, I don't feel, yeah, what did you say, what did I complain about again? What is this that you're talking about? You know what, can you call me back? I've spoken to customer service representatives, people that were rude, that were, it's just because of their mood. They were probably having a bad day. They were probably having a bad day. But AI cannot have all those emotions, right? So they sacked 77 people and saved massive amount of money. Now those people need to go and either find something else to do or be jobless, right? So economic inequality, that's the part that's the race that we are running at the foundation to make sure that we can close the gap. If this gap is not closed, what will happen is that the gap is already, do you know what a gap looks like already? The US economy is a $33 trillion economy. Nigeria is a 300 billion, 340 something billion. That's the gap. The per capita income in the United States is 75,000 US dollars. Nigeria is one of the highest in Africa. Nigeria has less than 1,000. Yes. I mean, if you go to the north, people live less than $1. The magnificence of Lagos, the Lagos lifestyle can make us not really, in the interlock states, people are suffering there. Like, when you say $1,000, what? How can you talk about that kind of money? That's too much money. Right? But the per capita income in the United States is 70, something about 75,000 US dollars, right? So what will happen when the AI ecosystem is mature is that US will now be maybe a $50 trillion economy. US will be a $50 trillion economy. Nigeria will now be maybe a 400 billion. And our population at that time will probably be 300 million people. That is the trend. So that is really what we have been trying to do to ensure that we can, as much as possible, close the gap. Close the gap. If Africa doesn't do anything, again, I like to say it like this: AI is offering Africans another opportunity to leap. After we missed the agricultural revolution, we had the industrial revolution. We were still under colonial rule at that time, right? So maybe things didn't go out, right, as planned. But after the colonial rule came through and was over, we were offered another opportunity during the IT era. I mean, South Korea was in the same condition, economic condition that we were in during the IT era. South Korea didn't lose out. South Korea, all your Samsung devices, Samsung makes some ridiculous, I don't know the number of it right now, but Samsung makes some ridiculous amount of money as well. As a matter of fact, Samsung earning alone is more than 5% of GDP of South Korea. They were in the IT era, when the IT era was still trying to, when it was so rough, if nobody really knew what was coming through, Samsung was South Korea was in the same kind of situation that Nigeria was. But they took advantage. Now they are a developed economy. We're still, poverty capital of the world. Right. So now we have another opportunity to ensure that we can take a good part of this, of this new wealth that will be created due to AI and improved economics. Thank you. You can move on to the next. All right. So there are various AI systems and models if you want to use AI to solve problems. Again, all these things that we have been saying is theory until you use AI to solve for it. You don't have anything, right? So now what I have here is essentially how to categorize different problem sets that you can categorize, vision problems. Now all these security people will be destroyed. In fact, security people are one of the people that are, they're like customer service. Customer service has about 97% vulnerability to AI, right? Software engineers, an AI came that was writing code two weeks ago, Devin, right? Software engineers has about 70-something% vulnerability. 70-something% vulnerability means that, okay, you guys are not going to go totally, but we need less of you. Right? So I run a company where I was paying 100 engineers before. Now I will need maybe 3 or 4, okay, maybe 10. Let's say 10. Yeah. But customer service has about 90-something% vulnerability. So now there's an AI model that can, instead of having security monitor, just pipe camera images to tell you when someone is at the door front, it can trigger something. Once it notices movement, right? Can do whatever it is that you want it to do as part of that, like home automation. So that is using computer vision, for example. Now, there are a lot of repetitive tasks that gets done because the computer has been built to, we have something called user interface. The user interface was just a way to help us relate to computer, right? Computer back in the days was just a command line. But now with the user interface, we love it so much, like, we move mouse around, we type on our keyboard. So now with computer vision, the way you move your mouse around, AI can move it for you. You are at your home, you can teach an AI system to do a repetitive task. And it can carry on the task, move the mouse, type on the keyboard, click on the button, and do all those things. Right? So those things need computer vision because it's as though they're looking and acting. NLP, so all the chatbots, you chat with all the Ziggy, that's the net Maccabi, and Leo, UBA, right? Those ones are still rule-based. You guys should wait for the main AI-powered one. Those ones they are like press 1 to do this, press 2 to do this. By the time the real AI-powered comes, you won't know you're talking to a bot. It will be natural, right? So, and that will be powered by NLP. So what you're seeing on that, they are sort of like technical. Maybe I should have, dumped it down a little bit. They're technical, conversational. Okay, you should know what that means. Translation, convert from one language to the other. Field mask. It's like, I want to go to, so that field mask is what your phone uses to predict when you're typing. Yeah, so it knows, guesses the next word based on the context of what you have written, right? So that's what is, happening there. Question answering, that's ChatGPT, sentence summary, ChatGPT can do that as well. Summarization table, text classification, you can say that, okay, tell me if this text is positive or negative. If you're a programmer, you would understand how difficult it is to do without AI. It's literally impossible. Like, what would you write? How would you write the code? I had a bad day today, and I had an excellent day today. How would you differentiate between the two, that one connotes negative interpretation and one connotes positive, right? So that is what the text classification does. If your customer submits a review, and maybe you have 1 million customers, now you can easily run an AI model that just, no, someone is unhappy here. Someone is okay, someone just praised your products without a real human having to review each of the write-ups by your customers, right? So that's the power of text classification. It's really powerful. Zero-shot classification. So before 2017, what we used to do when we want to do classification, I made an example of, when you want to classify cat and dog, you send a lot of cats, and then you train it with a lot of dogs. You say everything that you want to classify, and then you now, say that, okay, what is this? And then it tells you whether it's a cat or dog, right? So that's the old way. Zero-shot classification is you are not specifically training it on labeled data, but it can still tell you whether this is a cat or this is a dog or this is whatever it is that it is. So that is so much more powerful. Nobody's talking about the old way that we used to do classification anymore. It's really irrelevant, right? So people in AI are even getting disrupted by AI. Is that bad? So people that have learned that old way of classification, now they are having to relearn this new way. Because that old way, the way you have to do it is that you gather like 1,000 pictures of cats. Now label this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a cat, this is a got a picture, 1,000 picture of dogs. This is a dog, this is a dog. Now train your AI model. It's too labor intensive. It's too labor intensive. Zero shot. Just send. If you send a picture of cat, and if you have ChatGPT Plus, we'll do that maybe in the next series. Just send a picture of cat to that place on ChatGPT. To tell you, this is a cat smiling and maybe jumping on the green grass. To even describe the whole scenario for you. That is zero shot classification. So audio, if it's very popular now on Google. You don't have to type. You can just press the microphone button and speak to it. Ask a question, it will search for whatever you want. And then audio classification, again, similar to text classification, text search, tabular, and tabular regression. Multimodal is really where the future is. That's what everybody is trying to conquer. You see that much money that NVIDIA made last year was because of all the companies in the world trying to conquer multimodal. In the 1956, AI was able to, use rules, to navigate a decision, right? Now, 2000, it could use, labeled picture of things, right, to train. But now, with multimodal, now AI can formulate an understanding of the world. I will get to, technically, an AI system is not really supposed to understand the world. It is supposed to predict the next world. It is supposed to, when you say that, what is, can you give me any term? What is an economy, or what is recession? What is recession? What happens is that what is recession gets fed into the OpenAI or whatever chat system you're using, and it now starts to predict the next world based on exposures of text that it has been trained with. But what we've seen is that the guy is not actually just doing prediction anymore, because even though it's predicting, but the prediction based on what it has been trained with has compressed the understanding of the world, except people were writing nonsense. Because your expression, your words, your write-up expresses your intellect. And it has been trained on a whole lot of thought forms of humans. Right? So it is no longer predicting what is the right next word. It is now an expression of intelligence that, people that wrote things that it was trained on carried. So it now begins to have an understanding of the world. Now, the multimodal now is saying that now I can use that power, because now text is just on its own. Images is on its own. Audio is on its own. So now multimodal is saying that, can I use the intelligence from text and use it for a task in audio? Can I use the intelligence audio, use it to accomplish a task in images or vision? Can I use the intelligence vision, use it to accomplish something in whatever domain? So essentially, cross-referencing domain. So before you have to type to Google Bing Gabi or ChatGPT. Now, what will happen is that in the next few years, just if you have a medical condition, maybe you have rashes, you just snap your screen rashes, and then put it on that AI, but it will just tell you everything. So, okay, these are the right medication, or maybe ask you further questions. That's what will happen. That's a multimodal, because it's moving from mode of image to text. Now, there's already multimodal, because now, if you have the ChatGPT mobile app, you can speak to it, and then it will respond as text or as voice right back. So now you can you can take a picture of your shopping receipt, and then say, okay, you know what? Let me put it in my expense calculator so that I don't forget my expense management. And then you take a picture of all of that, go through every item that you got, how much it costs, put it in a table, and then keep it in your expense manager, whatever app that is. That is, going from mode of image and then structuring the information in a way that you can later consume it so that you can keep track of your expenses. So that's multimodal right there. And it's incredibly powerful. Yeah, let's move on. Yeah. So the people ask this question a lot, computer-based, reasoning or intelligence and human-based intelligence. What's the difference? Difference between these two forms of intelligence? Because we will be lying to ourselves. I had to spend time to talk about the, AI learning the understanding of the word bit. Because we'll be lying to ourselves if we say AI is not learning it. It is learning it. It is learning it. The only way it will not learn it is where the data that is being trained with are isolated from expression of intelligence of human beings. But it cannot. Someone spends how many months writing a book? You're not training the AI to write that book. It could create a mathematical representation of the thought form of the individual that wrote that book. Not just about the book anymore, but the thought form, So AI is essentially mathematics. All it does is mathematics. We'll get there. All it does is mathematics. So it compresses information into a mathematical expression. That's what it does all the time. Even the images, finding a cat or dog or finding an expression, it will find a way to convert physical information into a mathematical expression. That's what is happening behind the scenes. So AI is not really a black box. People say, we don't know what's happening in an AI, it's a black box. What is happening is that it has compressed that information into some numbers. So by the time you are needing that information back, it's running those numbers to now extract the information right back for you. It's different from the way Google works. Google will go to your website, all the website in the world, crawl the website and index the website, index the information. Like essentially, the way you have glossary at the back of your textbook, go to page 72. Apple, go to page 82. Cat, go to page 49. So that glossary, right? That's the way Google works. So it's not compressing any information, but now an AI is essentially compressing all the information on what has been trained with. It's not memorizing that information. It's essentially finding the mathematical expression that compresses the information contained in the data that has been trained with. So an AI algorithm converts data into numbers. We were going to spend some time here. All it does, everything that AI is trained with must be converted to a number first. Everything. It must be converted to a number. It cannot work with, it can't work with pictures. It can work with text. Computer is already, with silicon. It has a lot of transistor switches, ones and zeros. So it switches back and forth. So even though it's billions of those things to form information, right? So it can't work with anything else. So whatever it is, if it is pictures, we convert it to numbers. If it is text, we convert it to numbers. If it is audio, we convert it to numbers. So an AI algorithm convert numbers and extract pattern at a speed that surpasses human capabilities. So we'll touch about how AI compresses information to numbers. So also for human-based learning involves slower cognitive process. You can't rush it. You can't rush it. And that's why environment matters a lot. Exposure matters. Those exposure, because you're just in an environment that accommodates for your growth, you'll be picking up small stimulus from your environment. So human progress is slower. It's slower because you will need to work longer within an environment to be able to learn something, right? So it requires time for comprehension. You even need to sit on the bed and think about that thing that you just learned. You need to regurgitate on it. You need to reflect on that information, right? For it to start making sense, right? Also, AI-based learning is susceptible to biases in the data it is trained on. It doesn't know one is good or one is bad. You can create a bad AI system. That's why this is a dilemma for the industry, because the technology is right there. You can deploy it for positive use cases. You can deploy it for negative use cases. There's a method of AI system called reinforcement learning. you can use it to build physical humanoid robots, like robots that all these ChatGPT, they are softwares, right? They run in the cloud and all of that. But to actually build an AI system that can relate with the physical world, you would need some reinforcement learning there. And the way they work is that they have an environment, they have action that they can take. So if they take an action that you don't want, you can punish them. And if you take an action that you want, so they do that like millions of times in a simulation. So that's the model that you now load into the AI system. So now imagine if someone defines the reward function, they call it reward function. If someone defines the reward function to be like, your reward function is to find an excellent way to kill as many people as possible using the least resources possible. It will find it. Yes, it will find it. No, that's why I need to know, okay, maybe if I touch some part of the human body that we don't even know, like if I just press it a little bit, like that person is gone. I won't have to waste my bullet. Right? I won't have to waste my bullet. Right? So if we spend a lot of time in that simulation environment that depicts the environment, it will find that optimal, it will find a path to that reward function. Right? So that's why a lot of people have been saying, okay, AI needs to be regulated, AI needs to be regulated, because we are positive-minded people. We are looking for how to commercialize and how to deploy it for good of humanity. But a lot of people are there that they're trying to weaponize it. They're trying to weaponize it, turn it to weapon, right? And that is why it doesn't have bias. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna. That reward function is bad. I'm not gonna do that. It will go ahead and find it because it's essentially a mathematical expression. You are not remember when we started, minus b plus or minus root b squared, some guys work together and realize that, okay, this is the formula for this thing. But AI is finding the formula. All you're sending to it is data. For you to discover that formula, you can actually do that with AI. You can discover that formula with AI. All you need to do is send it a lot of data of A, B, and C. Right? So it will find the pattern, to find what connects A to B and C. So it will find, by the time you are done training that AI model, it will find minus B plus or minus root B squared minus 4AC. So that's the same way that it can find function, it can find expression for complex things that we cannot even think, right? Why? How is it possible? So it beats our understanding that, okay, there's an expression that maps to an outcome in the physical world. All right? So this is the AI ethics angle. The second line is the AI ethics angle, and why a lot of people believe that it needs to be censored, it needs to be regulated. Right. So human-based learning, on the other hand, allows for critical thinking, contextual understanding, and the ability to question, like, no, now, why do you want me to kill? I mean, it is against the moral law of any part of the world. Like, I can do that. Like, give me a justification for why I should do that. You would at least argue back and forth, right? So that's on a plus for human, leading to more nuanced and adaptable learning. Humans are more adaptable, right? So also, AI-based learning currently can't convert emotions into numbers. So that's the missing link. It's not like it's not be possible in the next 10 years, but at least today it is impossible. Right? So AI needs to be able to convert emotions into capture the information contained in emotions, right? To be able to use it with the other information that it has. So human learning can understand and navigate complex social interactions. You can know when someone is giving you a negative verbal cue, like, okay, what I'm saying is not going well with this person, right? Okay, what did I say? Did I hurt you? Did I, you can engage. Well, AI system is very, it knows the formula to do what it needs to do. It goes ahead and do it. Right? So yeah, that's the difference there. Humans can show empathy, humans can show, understanding and interact better in a social setting. Thanks. Right, so AI relies on predefined algorithms. Sorry, this is another, go back. AI relies on predefined algorithms, lacks the same level of contextual understanding and ethical reasoning. Humans can analyze complex situations, consider multiple perspectives, and make ethical judgments based on values and principles. AI don't have values and principles. They're just a software. They're just a piece of software. Yeah. So AI can be trained to generate creative output. AI can be trained to generate creative output. It lacks the same level of adaptability and creative thinking exhibited by humans. Humans, on the other hand, can exhibit the ability to think abstractly, generate valid ideas, novel ideas, and adapt to new situations. AI data typically includes audio, video, images, and text. But for humans, it includes, you take in stimulus from your senses, right? Your sight, your hearing, your touch, your smell, so it's way richer, right? We can train an AI model outside these three modalities of data: text, images, and audio. But now, if I do like this to you, I'm sending you some data. You are processing the data. Yeah. So that data you can capture it. So its experience is way less rich than humans, right? If I smile at you, I'm saying I'm communicating. But until the communication is verbal, then AI cannot deal with it. Like text, audio, video, or images, right? So yeah, that's the comparison there. And let me spend some time on this AI creativity. AI can express creativity. People think AI cannot, right? AI can express creativity, and how it does it is that, again, let's go back to the way AI works. AI has compressed information contained in data sets that has been trained with into some numbers. So if you train, let's say you train an AI model with images of cats and dogs, you can ask it to say that, can you give me a picture of a cat that has some features of dog? It can find, it may not look nice, but it will find some, that thing doesn't exist. That's creativity, right? Creating novel things, right? That never existed. It can, because what is happening is that there's some things called vector manipulation. The image of a cat is a vector information inside the model. The image of a dog is a vector information. It contains the latent space that a cat has, this thing, what a mustache, it has this size of tail. The numbers contain the expression that contains the information of a cat, right? So it can find a way to mix those numbers together, maybe sometimes add them, sometimes multiply them, sometimes that it will come up with a new image that it doesn't exist in reality, but expresses creativity. So before, people believe that AI cannot do that, but now we've seen that, yes, it is possible. To the AI, it's essentially just doing vector manipulation. Let's move on. Okay. This is where it gets interesting. AI creativity with numerical manipulation. I didn't actually have the slide. So what is happening is that AI deconstructs the information in the data sets that it's been trained with into some numbers. It deconstructs it. The model file, the final model file of an AI system, do you know what is inside it? What do you think is there? Numbers. It's just numbers. But question is, how can the numbers now be translated back to images? How can the numbers now be translated back to audio? I can generate some AI audio right now. You won't know it's AI. You will think it's me right here. And do some deep fake. Don't worry, we'll do some experimentation, some just experimentation in some subsequent class. I think we have 3 classes, right? You won't know it's me, right? And if what is inside a model file is just numbers, how is it being able to translate those numbers back to things that look so realistic? That's a very interesting question, right? That's very, very interesting. So when it is trained, it compresses the information inside what it's trained with into numbers. It stores it as numbers. But now when you need the information back, you want to query it or do whatever, it now uses the information in the model, which are still numbers, brings it right back to you. That is what is happening. So how to get to the number is the algorithm. We won't touch the algorithm much. I see that most of the class is not technical. There are different algorithms in terms of how to convert that information contained into numbers. That file, the entire ChatGPT when it came out, is less than 100 gigabytes. If you have a hard drive and you have access to their data center, you will copy the entire ChatGPT in 3 minutes and run away and go and start a new ChatGPT. the entire knowledge that it has is less than 100 gigabytes. And that model file is just a file, just like a file on a computer, right? That's what it is. So now the information that has been converted to numbers. Now, when you're asking the question, it is finding a way to bring those numbers right back to what you're looking for, right? So how it gets to the number that is stored in the file is, some algorithms. It uses some special algorithms to do that. We won't touch on that fully, but yeah, it's pretty technically steep. But we'll touch on how those numbers are, extracted first. Please move on to the next screen. So for images, image is just a bunch of numbers. Image is just a bunch of numbers. If you have a black and white image, a pure black and white image, black in numerical form, in decimal, is 0. White is 256. Actually, 255, because you're starting from 0. Black is 0, white is 255. That's black and white. But if you have full colored image, you will have, numbers between 0 and 255, right? Let's not get confused. Black and white is just 2 colors now. Black is 0. Anywhere you see black, there is 0. That's the number that it ascribes to, right? And then white is 255. But now, by the time you want to start getting into color, like full color TV, see this color screen now. Do you know how it's computing these numbers? This thing has a device inside it called graphics card. This TV. It has a graphics card. Am I still audible to the people on the internet? Okay, good. So this TV has a graphics card. Where that file that I sent to Mr. Adedeyi that is projecting, do you know how it's converting into something that you guys can see? The graphics card is manipulating the numbers in the picture so that it can formulate this image. How it does it is that, I don't know, in fine arts, secondary school, do you remember primary colors? Yeah. What are the 3 primary colors that we have? Beautiful. You can create any color in the world with just those 3 colors. Purple, violet, or indigo, all these women, they will say lilac green, lilac blue, I don't know all those things, right? So all those things can be formulated by just those 3 colors. If you mix them in different proportion, if you add more red, add a little bit of blue, and then add small, you'll get a different shade of color, right? So what is the graphics card inside this TV? What it is doing is that for every pixel, let me see if I can see the pixel. If you come close enough, you will see those tiny dots. Tiny dots on the TV. That's 1 pixel, right? So each pixel has those 3 primary colors that you guys have just talked about. Each pixel has red, green, and blue. So based on the number that it has been allocated to that red, green, and blue, the graphics card will mix it together real time. It's so fast. It happens in milliseconds. And then you see this. So if you do that for pixel 1 pixel, 2 pixel, 3 pixel, 4 pixel, 5 pixel, 6 pixel, I don't know the size of this TV. Let's say it's 1500 by 720. The graphics card will mix it roll all the row first, all the first pixel to the end, start from the second pixel till it gets to the last pixel. Each pixel has 3 colors, right? Red, green, and blue.
Red, yellow.
Red, red, yellow, blue, right? Red, green, and blue is red, green, and blue, RGB. Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, red, yellow, green. When you mix yellow.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So for these systems, for these screens, is red, green, and blue that is used, not the yellow, right? So it mixes red, green, and blue together to form any color that it needs to form. So it does that 1 pixel per line until it does it till the end. And the graphics card have something we call it refresh rate, because it needs to keep doing that thing so that you don't notice that it's mixing the color for you behind the scenes. So the refresh rate could be 50 Hz. So if it's 50 Hz, that means in 1 second, it's mixing the colors 50 times. Like in 1 second, it's like, so you don't know. You can watch a full movie that it will look smooth. You wouldn't know that the graphics card is mixing those colors for you behind the scenes. So now, let's assume that this image, this TV is 1000 by 500. I don't know the real screen size, right? Let's assume it's 1000 by 500. How many pixels will be on the screen? Multiply by 500. Thank you very much. This screen is way larger than that. We just use that as an example. That's the number of pixels. And then that is 1000 multiplied by 500. That's 500,000, Abi. Now, each pixel has 3 colors. How many colors would be on the screen? 500,000 multiplied by 3. That's 1.5 million numbers. So this thing, this 1,000 by, hypothetical 1,000 by 500 image, we have 1.5 million numbers to create that image. That's just like an image on a phone, right? If you see an iPhone, most iPhones now are like, 30 megapixels, right? Megapixels is the number of pixels that you can compress into a phone, into a picture, right? So that 30 megapixels has 30 million pixels, and each pixel has three colors. That is 90 million numbers. So it will mix, the graphics will mix those colors, real time. You scroll on your TikTok, it does that so smoothly. So the better the graphics card, the richer the color would be, the smoother the experience would be, and all of those kind of things, right? So that's what happens with pictures. So it's those numbers that is fed to train the AI system. It's not a picture. It's the numbers. So for the red, it will get the number. It will get the number for the red. It will get the number for the green. It will get the number for the blue, right? For each pixel. And then feed the AI system when it's training it. That's how it's trained. Okay, let me take a step back. When you are training any system that needs to be predictive, you need to use information that has the highest information gain. I mean, this picture, what other information is available for the picture? It has a name, Abby, image name. It has a file type. It has a file size. Which of those other information can tell you about the picture? Nothing. The name. What if I change it? What if I change the stuff to house and it's a cat that is inside the picture? Do you get? So you are looking for the information in any data that has the highest information gain. And for picture, it is the pixel that has the highest information about that picture. Nothing else. Not the image size, not the file size, not the file type, not the file length. For image, it is the pixel that has the highest information gain that can tell you. By the time you look at each pixel, our brain is smart enough to because we look at it from afar. This is a nice dog. This is a beautiful dog, right? It has put together all the pixels in a way that our brain can understand, right? So what we're saying is that because you cannot feed an image to train an AI system directly, you have to convert whatever data you have to a number. How it is done for image is that the pixel, each pixel, the red, green, and blue, will be converted to number and then fed into the AI system. Blue training. That's what happens. Okay. So yeah, that's what happens. Everything it cannot deal with any other data type but numbers, right? No other data type but numbers. So whatever is the information you have to find a way to convert it to a number, train the AI system, and then collect your information back. So can I say after you have trained, you can say, give me an image of anything that you have, and then it can recreate it, for you. Let's move on. So for text, what it does, how an AI system is able to understand text is interesting. It's essentially for us we have a dictionary. We have our own dictionary, right? Oxford Dictionary. You have a word, apple. It will give you apple, a fruit that's green or red and whatever, right? Grows in this region, blah, blah, blah. Car, so, a vehicle all those things, right? What we have to do for AI to be able to do text is to create our own dictionary where we assign each word in the dictionary to a number. There are different types. There are different ways now. ChatGPT uses a form of that. ChatGPT breaks words apart and assign a number to them. ChatGPT breaks word apart, but the simplest one is the whole word, car, vehicle, house, all of them, they have their own number. So instead of you having a dictionary that will say word and interpretation, meaning, what you'll be having is word and number. So each AI system has a basket of words that it knows. Yeah, a word. So outside those words, it can relate to anything more than that. So that's why they have to train with a lot of text, a lot of dictionary information, a lot of, so that the chances that there's a word that exists to humanity that it doesn't know is so slim, right? That's the reason why. So by the time, what happens behind the scenes is that every word, every unique word would have a number. And I think that's quite simple, right? That's quite straightforward. There are complicated ones that will be like every character it's converted to a number. That one is not good. It doesn't work well. There's another one that will be like every word, you to break it apart. That's what ChatGPT uses. If you say transformation, transform, it will assign a number to it. Asian, assign another number to it. So that way, it helps it know relationship of words. Like, okay, transformation is a noun form of transform. Transfiguration is a noun form of transfigure. It will be able to find, connections between words in the way the word is composed. We compose words, right? So it will be able to learn that pattern. So ChatGPT can break words. Some words that are small, it uses it to just assign a number to them. Some words that are too long, it will break them apart, in almost a syllabic form, and then assign a number to them. So that is the number that is fed into the AI during training. That's the number that is trained with. That's the number that is trained with. Let's move on. Mr. Dini, yeah. So for audio.
So Israel,
for audio, yes, sir.
Okay, you have just 5 minutes so we can take questions. I know you just want to keep going on and on, but we'll have to take questions. Sorry about that.
No problem, no problem. This class continues next week, I think. So we can round up just at this point and continue next week. Yeah. So for audio processing, what is the information in the audio file that contains the highest information? about what is there. It's the audio, is the voice, right? Not the file name, not the file type, not the file size. What else is there? It's just, is there. But by the time you play it, and then someone is, praying for you, you know that, wow, this is a positive, someone is sending positive emotion. And when someone is swearing on the phone, right? Like when someone sends you a voice recording, right? It's until you play it that you know what's there, right? So now, how do you convert that to numbers? Because AI systems cannot deal with anything else but numbers. So the challenge is, how do you convert that to numbers? So the way this is done in an AI system is that the way our ear knows the voice of Mr. Dini from Mr. Israel and everyone here is that each person has a frequency tone. Our voice has a frequency tone. It has a frequency property that varies from each other, and that affects the pitch, the loudness, the sound, all those other things, right? So to convert audio to number, what we usually do is that we call something sampling rate. So if we are sampling an audio at 1,000 hertz, that means at every second, we will check for the frequency information in that audio file 1,000 times and assign a number to that frequency information that we have gotten each time. So sampling rate, if the sampling rate is 100 hertz, right? HZ is hertz, right? That means every second we are sampling the audio file. Every second we're sampling the audio file 100 times. So that means every second we have 100 numbers. Usually we don't do 100 hertz. We usually do like 16K kilohertz, right? So every second we will extract 16,000 numbers. So that number is extracted from the frequency information. Like as I'm saying this right now, if you can extract 16,000 points within a second, you will have a full density and rich information about what I've just said. Right? So it takes that frequency information, at each. I can say time now because it's micro time, right? Each second it takes like 1,000 times or 16,000 times, or it takes that number, right? And then it keeps extracting that number, like as the timeline of the audio keeps going, right? It keeps extracting that number. So that frequency information is now what is fed into the AI to train the AI system. Because that's really what contains the information. Nothing else about that file. So usually, if by the time you do that, you can create, a AI system that understands verbal information or that can even speak. Because now after training, you have a model that is full of numbers, and now you want it to generate audio to be able to recreate what is, something similar. You can ask you, give me a sound, something that sounds like, sunny day at a beach, where people are clapping or cheering. To be able to create that. Because it has those ideas because of what it has been trained on, right? When you're training, you want to pass some, don't worry, let's not get too deep. It's too technical. Yeah, let's round up here, and continue from here next week. It's very interesting. I can assure you, it is super interesting. You would not want to miss it. Thank you so much. I think we can take questions now.
Thank you so much, Israel. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together for Israel. I think that was a very insightful presentation. Thank you so much. Window and America, Mina, please mute yourself. Thank you so much, Israel. So it's now time for questions. Please, if you have any question, indicate by raising your virtual hand, and you'll be given an opportunity to speak. But first and foremost, Israel, I want to ask one question first, before I pass it on to my colleagues to also ask their questions. The first question I actually have for you is, Israel, imagine that I'm interested in AI. Where exactly would you advise that I start from? Imagine I have no knowledge, I have no background. Where exactly would you advise I start from?
Okay. That's a good question. That's a very, very good question. What I would say to that is curiosity. Taking action on if you're interested in AI, what part are you most curious about, right? And then taking that curiosity to a level where you can now perhaps work to create an action item, an action step, right? At the end of the day, to still, get to some sort of learning, right? You have to learn something, but because it is so wide, you can get lost easily. You can easily, it's an ocean. It's an ocean. There are some people that they dedicate their life to image processing, right? There are some professors, like they have trauma when they see what is capable today with transformer AI model, because they dedicate their whole PhD career towards CNN, a very archaic method now, right? So it's a big ocean. So what needs to be done is that you need to be able to cross the path, to find a path that will not be so challenging, because if it's too challenging, you have a tendency to drop off, right? So crafting that path is really what we, usually do at the foundation to help people take baby steps. We advise you to, use AI systems first, logging into ChatGPT. If you can afford it, pay ChatGPT Plus, there is this app. I will share, maybe I'll send it to Mr. Adeneyi. You guys should, this has internet, right? Okay. If you go to app.suno.com, you can create music. You can create music. App.suno.com with AI. SUNO.com. Got some nice sounding music that even some of our artists cannot even, experience those apps. It will spoil your curiosity more. You'll be more curious to like, what? How is this even possible? And then, by the time you now have, some curious path that you want to pursue, then you can now craft, an action item to, help you further along across that journey. That's how I would recommend. But yes, I think there's important for mentorship in the whole thing, and that's why we're there at the foundation to help mentor people, essentially.
Thank you so much for that wonderful response. Let's go
Thanks.
to Duty. After Duty, we'll go to Oka. After Oka, we'll go to Kano, then Enugu. Duty, please unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon, sir. My name is Kasim Farida Bola. Please, sir, as a beginner, which language can I learn to develop AI? And where is maybe the reliable resource platform that I can learn it from?
Okay. Do you have program experience at all?
No, sir.
Okay, no.
No, but I just have I've used some app before, like Flipboard, and I see how they design the whole thing. Then how it is performing, it will summarize everything you have, then it will also rephrase it. And some more like that, sir.
Okay, so I would answer this question and also kind of like finish the last question as well. While to build an AI, you can escape programming, right? But we all have individual experiences that are unique, that exposes us to some opportunities that, if solved, can be tremendous, right? Where you can come in there is to identify opportunities in your area. You don't have to be the one to build it. But by the time you know so much, that's why I said, okay, you have to experience a lot of AI systems so that you even can fill your head with possibilities. By the time you know what is possible, I cannot do this. So, but if I could do this on that system, like that, what if I take this to Kano and then I put this and this together? I should be able to create this effect, right? That is a $1 million opportunity or $1 billion opportunity right there. So you don't have to code, but if you can think correctly in terms of AI and correctly map problems to opportunities. As I said, right, the problem with Africa is that we just see problem, we keep complaining. But by the time you can see a problem in Dutse or Kano or Dutse, right? Right. You see a problem, maybe it's agriculture, you see pests problems and all that, right? Now there are AI models that with a picture of the leaf, it can tell you the health level of that plant and what pest is, disturbing it, or what chemicals you have to apply on all that's it. The AI army that we are creating, that's the first problem that everybody needs to go solve, right? So if you're interested in AI, you don't have to be able to build the actual AI system, but being able to map a problem statement within your community, within your area, within your environment to a potential possibility that you know that AI can solve, that's a great value add. And the only way you know that is by experiencing a lot of AI systems. Just play around. Just explore them, right? Yeah, that's what I would say to that.
Thank you very much.
I would encourage you if you can, sorry, it's just wrap that up. If you can, afford to learn how to program, at least in Python, that would be, that would just like 10x the value that you already discovered, right? So right now we welcome people to say that, hey, you know what, I spotted this problem, I have an idea about this problem. Okay, I want to build an AI system. We can guide people towards how to solve that, right? But it's even better if you can write codes and actually build those things. All these things that's converting things to numbers. You have to write those things in codes, right? And then train the AI model, right? So that's better. But if you cannot, you can still, create a lot of value by recognizing problems that AI can solve. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Israel. Let's go to Oka. You have a second question, you have to wait. It's the second question, you have to wait.
Mr. Dene, I think the voice is gone.
Let's go to Oka. Do to wait for your wait. We'll come back to you. Let's go to Oka, please. Oka, over to you.
Good afternoon, Mr. Israel. I want to ask about AI, about artificial intelligence. Has there been issues with security? And by security, I mean, has there been issues with, the bad guys hacking into systems of artificial intelligence? And if there has been, is there a future in security, in securing AI systems? And then the second question is, how do we craft compelling prompts to give us better answers to whatever we want to get from?
Sorry.
I wanted to ask.
Could you take the question again, please?
Okay, I was asking about artificial intelligence. Has there been issues with security? I mean, has there been issues with people tampering with these artificial intelligence systems, like hacking and all of that? And if there has been, is this a promising field for somebody to go into, AI security or artificial intelligence security? And then my second question is, how do we craft compelling prompts for AI?
How could you craft a compelling what?
Prompt.
Okay, prompt. Got it.
Then the last question.
Okay.
Okay. The last question, please. So we have been up to like 2 weeks. We have been having theory aspect. And is there any part of maybe any AI course that will got practical?
Okay. So the challenge is that there are multiple audiences, right? You seem to be interested in the coding part, the practical part. I will encourage you to register for the next cohort of the African AI Foundation that will be starting in the next 3 months, right? So the audience for this is people that are just curious, to be able to, understand what is really going on with AI and what it is like, right? If you want to code, if you want to build AI systems, if you want to develop it from the ground up, that's what we do during our 3 months course. It takes 3 months, right? Yeah, I will encourage you to register. Doing practical AI coding stuff at this, with this audience, you would lose a lot of people because not a lot of people write codes right here. So how do you craft compelling prompts? It is iterative. The answer to that is that nobody knows the prompt. Not even the developer of an AI model can tell you ahead before trying that this is the right prompt that will create this kind of outcome. But there are patterns that that all good prompts have. It needs to be as detailed as possible. It needs to be as descriptive as possible. It needs to have secondary data points as much as possible, right? But even that, you have to try a couple of times to, be able to get the correct. I've not seen anyone that like, okay, this is the formula for crafting the perfect prompt to create this kind of output, but it's consistent pattern, right there. In terms of AI security, yes, AI security is a big challenge. Google just got fined last week. And that was because Google trained their AI system, Gemini, against publishers' data, like all the news agencies, Forbes, Times Magazine. But now your AI system has a lot of information, has a lot of knowledge of things that it did not create. How do you compensate people that have created those things, right? Google didn't have access to that, so France and a couple of countries find them, right? So the point of AI security the biggest part of AI security for AI is really in terms of the data security. The data that you're training on, where are you getting it from? Right? And the data, so for example, some companies have banned ChatGPT. And the reason is because what they've noticed is that their employees, while they're trying to, solve their problems faster, they will just upload corporate information, private information to ChatGPT, asking it, okay, how should I do this better? The ChatGPT will respond. Quite all right. But now their data is not accessible to ChatGPT guys, right? So that is a big security loophole for data leakage. So now companies have started banning ChatGPT in their network. Once you get into the office, you can't access ChatGPT anymore, especially in Samsung. The employees in Samsung uploaded the code for creating a chip, a microchip, the entire source code. They were like trying to solve a bug. ChatGPT helped them find the bug, but now the IP of that company is now with someone else, right? So the biggest challenge with AI security is in terms of the data, where you're getting the data from, and also how exposed are you when you're using the software? Is it within your infrastructure, within your local network, or someone else is having access to your data? That's why they will say that don't put any data on ChatGPT that you cannot afford that anybody see. In fact, they have human evaluator. They'll be like, okay, ChatGPT didn't give a good response today. Go and evaluate what is going on there. The human beings, they will just go there and be looking at, okay, we had a problem here. The response was too rude. The response was too inhumane. They have human evaluator. So now, if you expose information that includes, proprietary information, IP assets and all of that, then it's a big challenge. in terms of hacking the AI model itself, so there are some things called adversarial attacks. You know, AI has been trained on something. You can tell an AI to say that, okay, if you ask any question about Holocaust or any question about, anything that is controversial, that a lot of people have different opinion, don't answer. But there's a way to actually hack them that will make information, right? So they call it adversarial attacks. The information is already in the model. It's already in the model weights, right? So what they are just doing is just kind of like put guardrails and all of that so that people you don't get to be too, the world is political, right? You don't want to mention some things, you don't want to be politically incorrect. Yes, right? So there are ways to actually, hack an AI system to actually get it to involve, get information that you're looking for. And those are the other ways to actually, attack an AI model. Yeah. So did I answer the question correctly? Are you satisfied?
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Israel. Let's go to Kanu. Kanu, please unmute and ask your question now.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mr. Adeni, for the wonderful presentation. I think we really enjoyed this class compared to the previous ones we have been having. So my question is, we have actually given us several exercises about this AI, especially in the training of data and processing of the images and others. Can we get other platforms to learn more about this training and the data identification and many other things that we need to learn apart from here? Because I don't think this little knowledge is for us to enhance more on it. So if there is any other platform you can give us, thank you. Okay. Also, if you can get the slide, I would be very glad.
Okay, so because we could not cover the total slide, you'll get it next week. You'll get a slide next week.
All right.
Yeah. And the forum that I can guarantee is the cohort. The cohort number 2 will be starting in the next 3 months. So please endeavor to join. We will do 2 series. Each cohort starts from people that are not technical. You're just curious. You want to find out, how can I use AI to solve this problem? There are a lot of problems around us that we can use AI to solve, right? So the part 1 is for them to just understand what is going on with AI, right? What is happening? And then the second series is now where it gets technical. You have to get your hands dirty to build one, right? We built a couple of AI systems last year. Some people, it was their first time of doing that. Yeah, so I would encourage you to check in. And our courses, everything that we did last year is still open. If you go to, I will send a classroom to you. Please help share the classroom. All the courses, all the video recordings, all the files, all the codes, everything that we did last year is accessible. So if you cannot wait for the next 3 months, you can just go through those courses pending when we start a new cohort, right? I'm very sure you would, especially for someone that, I think someone else also asked about the practical part, building and all of that, right? So yes, going through the classroom content would help you a lot in terms of how to.
Thank you very much. Let's go to Ibadan, then we'll go to Maiduguri.
Thank you, Mr. Aisha, for your presentation. When you were talking about projection the other time, you talked about job displacement due to automation. Now, my own concern is the aspect of opportunity you mentioned. You said we should not look at it's not be short-sighted.
Can you speak closer to the microphone, please?
You said we should not be pessimistic about the negative aspect of job displacement, but rather we should look at the positive aspect of what opportunities can be created. Now, my question is, I'm interested in that side of opportunities, but my question is, what example of industry exactly you have in mind, so that maybe I can focus here on to learn about the AI machine that I use in such industry, so that I can supply the spare parts there on either of the two. Thank you, sir.
Maybe you should type the question. You're not very clear. The audio is not great.
Okay, the question is that, first of all, you said that there is job displacement. That is
job displacement, yes.
You said there is going to be job displacement if there are no job displacement now. And that we should not look at the negative aspect of that job displacement. Rather, we should look at the opportunities that are going to be created, that the machines used in such industries, that we should get trained either in the use of those machines or how to supply the spare parts of such AI machines, because they are going to break down at some point in time. Now, my question is that what example of industry exactly do you have in mind? And how can I prepare myself to get trained in such AI machines and such industry? Thank you, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So essentially, you're asking what industries are likely to grow alongside AI.
Not negative
side, positive side.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's going to grow those areas so that you can supply spare parts.
Unfortunately, AI is a software. It's not like a hardware. In an example of spare part that I gave in France, where, in textile example, right? It's a software. The part you could focus on is to either to learn how to be able to problem solve with AI. You can be a product manager in an AI company with that, or learn to program. You can be actual AI developer with that. Or, some other areas would be, like these prompt engineers that's emerging. I don't see the job of a prompt engineer being very long term, but like that role is open today. A lot of companies are hiring them, right? Also is data curator. Data in Africa is not organized. So if you can play a role in organizing African data sets, in a way that can be used by AI, that you have some upside right there as well. Yeah.
All right, thank you. All right, let's go to Meduguri. Meduguri, please unmute yourself and ask your question. I think after Meduguri, we'll go to Uyo, then Joss, then we're done for today.
All right, good afternoon. Thank you very much, sir, for a wonderful presentation. My question goes like this. In review of the Nigerian government, you talk about spending around 270 billion US dollars on AI developers outside the country. Don't Nigeria have any other plan, or is it that we don't have enough AI developers who are expert in developing AI apps in Nigeria, or does the country have other plans or trying to make one or two institutions that will also help with the AI developers down here in Nigeria?
Sorry, your question is that can you help rephrase the question, please?
Okay, I said in view of what you say regarding Nigeria spending about 270 billion US dollars on AI developers outside the country?
Oh no. $270 million on ads. People that are advertising on Facebook and Instagram and all of that. They spend $270 million collectively in a year. I think you misheard me, yeah. So so people that are advertising on shops, Facebook shops, Instagram, trend and all of that, you know, even though it's maybe $100, yeah.
Okay, in respect to that, what are other plans that Nigerians are having for AI developers down here in the nation?
I wouldn't be able to speak for the Nigerian government. Yes, but I can say what we are doing at the foundation. But we are, working. We are looking to work with the Nigerian government as much as possible to scale the impact, so that we can get to the tipping point faster. But that much is what I can say. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Let's go to Uyo. Uyo, unmute yourself and ask your question.
Good afternoon. And my question is from the first session we had with Mr. Solomon. He told us that you can, with AI, you can create a database that you can use and manage your company, like to manage the movement of goods and goods from, in and out of the company. So I want to know how to create that database that you can use and manage your company. Thank you.
Okay. With an AI, you can use an AI to manage like freight management, like logistics management, right? Okay, yeah. Supply chain optimization. Is that it?
No, I didn't get you, sir.
Okay. The data about what, please?
Like,
sorry, can you?
Okay, what I mean is, like, if you have a company and then you want to use AI to create a database that can help you and be managing the movement of goods from your company in and out of the company, like it can help you and be doing the calculations. So how can you create the database with the AI?
Okay, I will answer that question to the much of understanding of my interpretation of what you're asking. AI can create data, right? Quite all right. But data created by AI is synthetic. When you train AI with real life data and then you generate something, using generative AI, what you have is a synthetic data. You cannot, how do I put it? Perhaps what the instructor was trying to say is that you can use AI to optimize your supply chain, right? To tell what a demand pressure on a product looks like or what it will be in the future so that I can know what to ship to a particular warehouse, right? So that I can know what time to move a product from one warehouse to the other or from one factory to the other. Because if you have a fast-moving consumer good company, every minute matters. And every minute your product is not on the shelves of people that are distributing and selling it, you're losing money, right? So in supply chain, it is so critical for you to optimize to the minute, right? And AI can help you do that. AI will not help you generate the data. It's you that will go and collect the data. It's you that will go and collect the data. You will go and talk to your distributors. Please, can I plug into your whatever thing that you are using to manage the inventory, so that I can know what inventory you have per day. So by the time you collect that data for long enough period of time, let's say 2 quarters, 2 months, you will see patterns, peak times, slow times, medium times, and all of that. And that way, an AI system will be able to predict that tomorrow, you need to ship 20,000 products to this particular warehouse or else you will lose money. So the data, you have to go collect it. If you want to generate the data to be synthetic, even though the data will look so much like real data, but you don't want to collect, you don't want to use synthetic data as much as possible. You want to collect real data. You have to go work with your distributors, work with your supply chain guys, put sensors on your trucks, GPS sensors on your trucks. If you can use AI to calculate travel times, optimize their route. But that data, so there are different ways you can collect the data, automated ways, or just by talking to your customers that are helping you distribute.
All right, please, we have one last question here.
All right, good afternoon. Please, my question is, this AI stuff we're talking about, how can a data analyst integrate AI into their profession, like into their field, when it comes to the area of analyzing, comes to the area of visualization and all of that?
Very good question. Data analysis has a vulnerability index of about 60-something%, about 67% to AI, right? So it means that AI, it means that we're not going to see a case where there's no data analyst in the future, but we won't need a lot of data analysts. Essentially, data analysts using AI, we send the ones that are not using AI home. They will send them packing, right? So that's a good question. And already, systems like Power BI are already even integrating AI to their toolings, right? Yeah. Systems like Tableau and the likes are already integrating Power BI. Sorry, already integrating AI into their systems. And how I like to think about this is that you just have to, be at the forefront. For example, there is this AI tool that if you send it any data sheet, right? You can ask any question about that data sheet, right? And if a company has access to that data, why would you need, because data analysis is there to give insights to the management, Abi. Now the management can go and ask by themselves, So if you are the one that can build that kind of system, there'll be massive opportunity for you. There will be no data analytics done the way it used to be that, okay, my GM will come and say, okay, let me see the supply chain data for the past 3 days. No, it's not, that's the 2 years ago, right? What will be happening is that the GM will be typing it like, who is my best customer last week? What is the best product in the past 3 days? What is the best, what is the most complaint that I've received from my customers in the past 2 weeks? So as a data analyst, if you can plug in functionalities to be able to deliver real-time insight to the company, that is how you'll be able to keep your job. Yeah, so you will be using AI, essentially sending the other ones that are not using AI home.
Thank you very much. Let's quickly go to Just, then we'll go to let's go to Just immediately, then we'll go to Nugu.
I think Just already sent their question to the chat.
We have 2 questions here, ma'am.
Okay.
2 questions from where?
All right, my own is on the chat.
Okay, please, how can we obtain the material for AI, like tutorial video or site that can, okay, I'll send it to Mr. Adeniyi and it will share across, where our recorded sessions from the first cohort is still available online. You can get into the classroom. The classroom is perpetually open. You can get in there and then access the materials. You will have access to the code as well. The code is still there on GitHub and the classrooms as well. So yeah, Mr. Adeniyi will communicate that accordingly.
All right. Let's go to Inugu and Calabar. Inugu, over to you. Okay, these are the last questions we'll take for them.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. I'm Idowu Emmanuel from UNEC. I have two quick questions here. Firstly, I believe I believe I heard from you that AI can be creative. Some sources say that AI is not creative. Now, my deduction here is that AI may be creative, but not to the extent of a human. Now, here's my question. Is there a possibility that AI as creative as a human, looking at their mode of procession, which is algorithm and the mathematical stuff that we're talking about, and whether this is going to cost us of jobs in the future? My second question is this. Elon Musk always says that AI is powerful. Does this mean that as we usually see that, does this mean as we usually see that we should expect the danger of AI and robots going haywire and causing massive lives and problems? That's we usually see in movies where AI and robots go crazy and they cause loss of lives and property. So should we expect this kind of thing? And then in such circumstances, who are we to blame? The person who enjoys the services, that is the mass, in the case of a military robot, or the person who created the robots, or the AI, or the AI itself, which has developed a consent of its own? Who are we to blame in this kind of circumstances? And then what are the measures that we can put to prevent this kind of things from happening?
Okay. All right. AI ethics is a big subject, actually. We don't have to wait to the point where humanoid robots start doing stuff. We started seeing AI bots creating fake content and then publishing them as though they are real, right? So that's the threat that AI poses. But what I always say is that this threat, what will solve it is more AI. Yeah. The threat that AI poses, how to solve the threat is not to say that everybody stop working on AI. That's not how to stop it. Because if you do that, just like you have drugs, if you go into black markets, people will not stop working. They'll just stop announcing it. People will not stop. They'll stop announcing their progress. And the likelihood that if you get into the bad hands, the progress of the positive side will not now catch up with the bad guys, and that's where there will really be problems. But you see, the problems with that AI will cause is more AI that will solve it. In terms of, now we have classification algorithms that can tell you whether an image is real or fake, or whether an image is real or generated, right? Imagine we didn't have that. Now, someone would just create a picture of you saying something that you did not say and then cause trouble, right? So Facebook already has this, YouTube already has, some of these models. All these social networks already have deployed some of these models, right? So you just put it like, this is misinformation. So even by the time it gets to the humanoid apocalypse tendency, it is more AI that will solve it. If we ever stop the research and efforts on, AI, it will get the bad guys to get ahead because you can stop them anyway. So you just have to get the good guys to always be ahead. So the challenges of AI will be solved by more AI. And I think the first question, sorry, can someone remind me of the first question? Creativity. Okay, AI creativity. So how AI creativity happens is essentially called vector manipulation. It is not a way human beings are creative, definitely. And human beings are way more creative today because we store information differently. In human beings, how do we store information? It's neural pathway. When you are reading or when you are absorbing an information, some neurons in your head are firing in a particular pattern, right? And how memory is formed is that by the time that firing sequence happens again in your head, you remember that event, that sequence, that smell, that word or whatever, right? So it's, we have trillions of, cells of neurons, right? So it's the way they fire after each other is what expresses creativity. So we're able to combine ideas. If for you to remember car, this is how, you know, the firing configuration to remember car. But to remember shoe, this is how, you know, it fires differently, right? And then it forms the memory of shoe. For you to be able to create something new, you just need to find a different pathway that combines the two firing patterns. That is how the human brain works, right? And, you know, some guys have been making a lot of advances in terms of how to even predict what thing, neural link, for example, right? They can predict what you're thinking, what you want to do based on the patterns, the sequence of how your synapses are firing, right? So today, AI is not as creative as human beings, but we can never say never. It's impossible. We don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 years. Sorry? So we created tractor. We can beat tractor on a farm now. Human beings created tractor. Human beings created aeroplane. We've created machines that can do way more than, and that's the beauty. Well, the output is what we're talking about. It's not about control. It's the output. Of course, we control airplane. Yeah, the output can express creativity. We can rule it out that AI won't be able to express creativity more than humans. If you go to app.stino.com, let me do it from here so that we can. Do we have like 3 minutes to just do an example? Yeah. Let me quickly show that. My screen is still being shared, right?
No, we can actually do the example. Sorry, Israel, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, Israel, we can do the example next week. Yeah, for now we're actually out of time.
Let's do the example.
Yeah, so whatever it is, we can continue this conversation.
Okay, no problem.
Week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. It was indeed a very wonderful session. Let's put our hands together for Israel. Please do not kill Israel for us. Israel will be back here next week again. Israel, thank you so much. It was a wonderful session, and we do hope that we'll continue this conversation next week again. So please, for those of you who still have questions, please, you need to hold on. Make sure that you have your questions intact. By next week, Israel is going to take all of those questions, and if need be for any further demonstration, he's going to do all of that for us here next week. Thank you so much, Israel. It's been a very wonderful time with you. We appreciate you so much, and we hope to see you again next week.
Thank you so much.
Yes. Thank you very much, everyone at the American Spaces. We thank you so much for being part of our program today. We hope that we'll see you again next week. But quickly, let me highlight that tomorrow we have our Session Education USA program tomorrow around 10. Please keep a date with us. And on Thursday, we also have a Speak with a Diplomat. Ensure you join all of this program on Thursday, 10 a.m. as well. Thank you all for coming and have a wonderful day. Bye from us for now.
Bye. Thank you. Please hold on.
All right. I think I owe you